And we're live. What's going on, everybody? Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. I was listening to the Texas Toast live stream.
It must have still been going.
Yep. And I was just like losing track of time. And they were talking about a new guitar design. And I told Matt, if you do that design, sign me up for one. Like, I sent him a super chat. I'm ready. So it's going to be a Jazzmaster shaped Texas Toast guitar with a set neck and a 24/75 scale. I'm like, I'm totally down for that. That sounds fun. So, two humbuckers, heck yeah. Well, welcome to the Thursday night Q&A. We are hanging out with y'all like we normally do. You can come and ask questions in the comments or the chat section live. You can also go to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone and join there, and you can ask questions early and be featured on the screen here in a minute. Also, as a YouTube member, if you click the little join button down there. I also wanted to mention somebody this week, a couple of people this week, emailed me and said, hey, or chatted me on the website and said, hey, I signed up as a member. Where's my discount? So if you do sign up as a member on YouTube, it's harder to communicate with those people on YouTube. So just shoot me a text and be like, or a message on the website and be like, hey, I joined as a YouTube member and I need my 10% off discount. So just FYI, that's a thing for Patreon and YouTube members. Also, this is a no ads live stream. This is a no ads live stream. So you can, with a super chat, support the channel, and you can also go to Dylan Talks Tone and buy pickups and shirts and hats and lighters and bottle openers but mostly pickups. And capacitors and pots and all kinds of really cool stuff. We carry a lot of stuff these days. So that's all available over there for you to pick up. Tonight, we're going to talk about demoing pickups because we've been doing some of that in our videos, and a question came up on Patreon today. So we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Do you have anything that you need to add? No?
No.
Okay.
You never asked me that.
I know.
I was not prepared for that question.
I know. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why don't I ask you that? So I'm going to start asking you that. So see, now you're prepared for next week.
Probably not. I'll probably forget.
Probably not. Well, let's get into our Patreon questions. And then if you have questions, get over there in the chat section over on this side or use a super chat like somebody just did.
Super chat from Jason Gale. Thank you for the super chat, Jason. He said, I sent you a pic of bass pickups need replacing. And he squished that all together to
get it in the $1.99 character thing. Okay, cool. I will check it out. I will check it out. Thank you for the super chat also, Jason.
Another super chat from Tazzy Tim. Thank you for the super chat. Tim, he says, g'day from Tasmania, Australia. Ad free for me.
Thank you so much, Tim. And I got your message that your whiskey that you bought for us has hit the States. So it's in Los Angeles right now. So it's going to be coming across the country to us. It's going to make it all the way around the world, which is kind of cool. So thank you for thinking of us on that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, got another one. Super chat from Van Shank Guitars. Thank you for the super chat, Ivan. He said ad free for everyone.
You know, speaking of ad free, one of the things I don't often talk about is the fact that you can watch most of if not all of the videos, the pre-recorded videos, ad free on Patreon.
Oh yeah, you don't talk about that.
I don't talk about that enough. So if you don't like YouTube ads, you can watch them ad free on Patreon.
Yep. Jason said he wasn't trying to limit his characters. He was having typing problems.
Oh, nice. Oh, I don't care. If you tried to limit characters, I would be judicious with it as well.
All right. Ready?
I am. Let's do a Patreon question.
Steve.
Alan.
What do you think of a pickup showroom where a guitarist could bring their rig and grab guitars with different pickups and try them out? It could work.
Okay, we're going to talk about this. You don't have to leave it up. This is where the thumbnail came from tonight. Okay, so pickup showroom. I don't want to do it because I don't want to have a showroom because I don't want a retail space. Do I think that it could work? Yes, if you had the space and if you had the setup. I've been actually giving this a lot of thought because I'm doing a trade show in Nashville next month, and in about 3 weeks actually. And so I've been giving it a lot of thought, like how am I going to set it up? How am I going to make it a tangible thing where when you put it into a guitar and you can actually like, oh yeah, these sound great, and okay, I want to buy it right now. Because pickups are weird to buy in a retail space. I am actually super grateful to all of you that I have actually been able to make this business work over the internet for the last 10, 11 years, because it is a weird one, right? To like have that be, it's the main part of the sound of the guitar, and try to describe it or, translate that over the internet. You got a super chat there.
Mm-hmm. I just noticed it. I wasn't putting it off. Super chat from Jay Valente. Thank you for the super chat, Jay. He said, pumped to get the pickups I just ordered.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Yeah, you did. That's right. It's demos are tough. They're kind of really a pain because everybody plays guitar different, and everybody puts their pickups in different guitars, and so here's the interesting thing. Okay. You have the majority or a lot of the guitar community who wants to dive into every little thing, making this huge difference in their tone. Like, it's raining on Thursday and I'm playing basswood versus sunny on Friday and I'm playing alder. And so the tone's going to be different. Can you give me a demo that shows me the difference between those two things? And the answer is no, I can't. On the other hand, they want to see a demo to buy a product. And as you know, for me, I address the whole pickup thing completely differently. I don't think it's always the best thing to specialize a pickup so tightly that it only does one thing. I want it to be very usable in a lot of situations. That's how we design our stuff. So demos are tough though, because you use too much reverb. You don't use any reverb. I want to hear it on the edge of breakup. I want to hear it totally clean. I want to hear it. So it's really hard. And so basically the way I do them is I'm like, I want to show you how I intended for these pickups to sound. And I'm not that good at it because I'm not that great of a guitar player, but it's really tough to accommodate everybody. And so this is something that in the last few weeks, especially because I've been doing some upgrading to the website and stuff, that I've really been giving a lot of thought to. And I honestly don't know what the answer is. And I don't know that there's ever going to be an answer to how you actually demo this stuff. And that's why we try to be super thorough with explanations about what it does and why it does it, so that you can put it into your guitar and have a result that you'll be happy with. But I think the biggest thing is people just are they overanalyze it way too much. A good pickup will do a lot more than you think. So don't focus on the one thing that you think it should or shouldn't do, because if a good pickup will automatically do it if it's good. Most of the time, within reason, like, within kind of a couple of big departments of tone, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a hard thing, man. Demos are tough. So I guess my question to all of you, if this comes up tonight and you have a minute to think about it, what is when you watch demos, what are you looking for? Not that I can accommodate everybody, but let's talk about it, because I think it would be a good conversation to have. So as we're talking about other stuff tonight, throw that in there. And if you show up late and you want to throw that in there, for sure, just what do you like to see in a pickup demo? Yeah, it's a hard one.
You want to keep going?
Yeah,
now?
let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. Dylan. How do you position your Strat's Vibrola arm when not in use? Now that mine's installed, I keep having trouble accessing the volume and tone knobs when I play.
I push mine back this way, not down. So mine spins backwards and kind of like sits on top of the cable, I think. And then I grab it. I think.
Is that what it's called?
No, Vibrola is a specific brand of vibrato, but it's people do call it that.
This is the first time I've seen that. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
so
going to read what was written.
I just put it down kind of by the cable. That's where I put it.
Jay, thanks for all you guys do. Love your content and your products.
This dog plan was way better
So far.
so
We're
far.
only 12 minutes in.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
true.
been restless.
He's knocked out now. I got to feed snakes tonight. I should have got some mice out.
All right. Tim, did you want to share with the group the project you are doing for me?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. So I am putting some dogs on a humbucker. I was working on it today. Trying to get the grayscale right. I did a couple of tests and it looks good, but I think I can make it look better. I want it to actually look like a photograph. And I cut them out because I don't want to just put a picture on a pickup. Like I want to make it fit right and everything. Like I want it to be really good. So I was working on it today, but it's going to be neat.
That is wild.
Yep. It's going to be on a pair of humbuckers, I think.
Charles Davis. Dylan, can I put regular locking tuners on a Strat that has vintage tuners on it?
You can. You just have to make sure that you have the 11/32, I think. Is that what they are? 11/30. They're not 10 millimeter. I think they're 11/32. The shafts are narrower. Clusen makes a really nice one that looks like an old-fashioned tuner, but it's got a screw lock on the top, sort of like a PRS one, and they're really nice, and they look exactly like a vintage tuner. That's my favorite. I think that's what I have on that guitar.
All right. That was all Patreon. You want to hear what folks are saying about
Yeah. About pickup demoing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Hawkman Hawk says, I feel more people should post videos of their pickups. I like hearing all different demos of stuff, professional and not.
So and here's what I would say about that. I agree. I would really love it if any of you who buy our stuff, because to ultimately, it's more effective for you to tell people how awesome my stuff is than it is for me to try to convey how awesome it is, right? Both from a practical standpoint, because there's more of you, and a marketing standpoint, because of course I'm going to say my stuff is awesome. But for those of you that have it, the Facebook group is a great place to do that. Or on Instagram and tag Dylan Talks Tone. That is a great place to do those two things. Just little snippets of you playing. You don't have to do huge production. Just literally just throw your little Spark amp on a coffee table and play. That's what I do into a phone, And I know that people will be like, that's not a perfect demo. But the point is that they see that you made a purchase that you're really enjoying and you're using it. That's literally more effective from a marketing perspective and from a community perspective than a highly produced demo that tries to show what a pickup is supposed to sound like on the website. So that would be more help than just about anything, is if you all would go to the Facebook group and play little snippets of your stuff every now and then. And it doesn't matter how good or not a guitar player you think you are, because all different skill levels from all different backgrounds buy our stuff. From people who don't even really play to Nashville musicians and touring people that are millionaires. So everywhere in between. So don't be scared of doing it. Because you're just one of us. So
Jose Daniel Zamora P said, I think the newer demos are fine. The older ones were rough, but that was mostly because of the recordings. Earlier seasons, DTT didn't have the same production values as newer ones. Also better cast.
Oh, makes sense.
Can't play demos.
You can't play demos?
Is things vibrating in here? No. That's a weird sound.
I mean, yeah. Our across the street neighbor has a Cadillac CTSV with an LSX and a supercharger, like a big supercharger and straight pipes and stuff. So the cold starts from across the street are always pretty nice.
Dr. Tim said, any good pickup can do a lot more than I can do with it.
And that's really it. I think if the way I look at aftermarket pickups in general is they're really, as long as they solve the problem that you need to solve, don't get super wacky with, and maybe I'll do a podcast about this, like a Tuesday podcast where we'll talk about that, because there's no real point in getting super wacky with, well, this little frequency and this little, that little, whatever. Those sorts of things don't matter as much. If they solve the problem, my pickup is really muddy on the neck pickup. It doesn't do this with high gain. These pickups are way too hot and they sound flat. You have those initial reactions to a guitar when you play it. And I guarantee you that anything that we make will fix those problems. So that's really what you care about more than, for most of us anyway. Now, there's going to be a few people who are like, I need a very specific thing. And I get that. But what usually those people, like studio musicians and stuff, they don't care about swapping out pickups and all of that. They just have a different guitar. So typically a lot of times what they'll do, like a studio musician will have like 5 different tellies and they all sound a little different, and they'll go into the studio and they'll play a little bit on all 5 and pick their favorite one for that particular application that they're doing. They won't be like shopping around for pickups to make it do a thing. They'll just have a bunch of different guitars. So, it's just a different approach to it. Most of us are just like, yeah, it's not muddy anymore, and I'm super stoked.
Matt Sanders said, I thought that your last video where you got to showcase your stuff over the years was really neat.
Yeah, that was a fun video to make. Did I tell you I did that?
Mm-mm.
I took my red Strat that has my first pickups in it, and then this guitar, which has my newest model of pickups in it, and played them side by side and just talked about what I thought kind of changed over the years, or, things got better, or they're not the same model. So it wasn't like apples to apples, but there were things where I'm like, yeah, I am actually better at this than I was when it was my first set, which, obviously stands to reason, but also that first set was really good too, and everybody and people in the comments were like, oh, I actually like this, from the old one. So it was a fun video to make.
Jose Daniel Zamora P said, what makes me kind of confused is the descriptions are almost the same, like clear and note definition. But what are the differences? No shade, though, just feedback, mostly on single coils.
Yeah, that's something that I've been given thought to. Clear note definition, that's across the board. That's everything we make. Then you're just kind of picking an output. How hard do you want to hit the amp? Maybe that's a video that I should spend some time on doing, is making all of the Strat models demos side by side and put all the Strat model demos side by side on all the Strat model pages. So like if you're buying a Classic 5, you can listen to the Hot 5s and the Bonnevilles and the Highway 99s all side by side and be like, no, actually, I really want these other ones instead, and go over to that page and buy them. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. That's good feedback, actually.
Van Shank Guitar says, I'm looking for real world demos. Nobody plays clean.
Yeah, nobody plays clean. And if they do say that, they're lying to you, because nobody does. And I understand that is a generalization that isn't totally fair, because there are some people that specifically set a rig up, but they are an outlier. The person that wants to play totally clean is an outlier. And the reason I say that is because even if you think you're playing clean, your rectifier or your preamp stage is compressing more than you realize, and to make it sound good. Tubes that aren't compressing, or a digital version of tubes that aren't set to sound like they're compressing, don't sound good. They just don't. So it's natural to want to put that in that zone to make a tube amp sound good. That's when it's the most expressive. So you're going to do that, even if you're like, yeah, I'm pretty clean. Well, pretty clean and clean are two different things. So yeah, nobody plays totally clean.
Jason Gale, I like to see pickup demos on which pickup goes into which guitars, as in all possibilities, and why.
Yeah, and that's hard to do because we just don't have all the guitars. And it's hard to change pickups. It's like, I don't like to change pickups a lot on guitars because it's hard on them. Yeah, it's hard on them. That's why I don't swap them around all the time, because it's hard on a guitar to do that. Just stuff gets stripped out. Stuff gets like, I don't know. I don't like doing it.
This is also from Jason Gale in a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Jason. And it says, I also posted a discussion topic on DTT Insider Group, 1977 Gibson Les Paul recorder.
Oh, those are cool. I played one of those. I actually played one of Les Paul's personal guitars a few years ago. It was really neat. Les Paul recording.
Whoops. Doc Stiltonen, I always struggle doing demos of my guitars for the Instagram page. I know the sounds that I like may not be the same ones that others are interested in because I rarely play clean.
Yeah, and again, I think the goal is I think the goal is to just show people how much you enjoy playing the pickup, playing the guitar. If you spend more time being like, this pickup is what inspires me to play, and this is how I'm inspired to play it, I think people will connect with that more than being super, super technical. And to be honest with you, Don, the person who's like, dang, that sounds good, and that's their only response, is the customer you want, and not the one who's overanalyzing everything. I don't know if you ever spent much time in our comment section, but the folks that spend a lot of time overanalyzing everything and telling me I'm doing my demos wrong aren't buying my stuff anyway. And the people that are like, dang, that sounds awesome, they just buy it. So as a person who builds guitars and you're trying to sell them, inspire people with an inspiring sound, and inspire the people that when the sound inspires you to play right, play what you want to play, then you'll attract the right kind of customer to your brand. And that's something that I've always cared about doing more than being overly technical on the demos. And I know that that means that it drives some people away, but it also attracts other people who really like what we like. So, which is good. That's good.
Matthew Altamare says people describe pickups like they do wine or coffee. It has certain fruity and nuttiness, but no harsh aftertaste.
Yeah, I try to stay away from all that warm and blah blah blah. All those, it's like, I don't know. Those are, to me, those are dumb terms. I think if you talk about the graphic equalizer in blocks, you know, lows, low mids, mids, high mids, and highs. Simple. And I think if you talk about them pretty simply like that, instead of like, "Ooh, this is so warm," no, it ain't. Like that's, I don't know, or brittle or anything like that. Let people use all those words, and I'm like, when you can see it, when you play it into your DAW, you can see the frequencies that it's making, or that it's easy for it to make. It's not that hard. So keeping it simple, you're right, and staying away from all those buzzwords is probably better.
Soil sample. I like attributing texture to tones.
Oh, okay. So he's the opposite of me. He's like, I want to use all those words. Makes sense.
3J Music. I like the demos from regular guys. There are pro YouTubers I like because I like them, but you get a more realistic idea from the guys who don't have $1 million studio.
Yes. And honestly, that is why I do mine the way I do them. And so, for example, I don't know if you guys know this or not. We probably talked about it before. I plug into an amp. I turn it on. I run it. I check levels in GarageBand. I record it, and I dump it into Final Cut to edit it into the video. I do not touch it. I don't do any post-production. I don't do anything, because I know that we could make it sound amazing, but then it doesn't sound real. So yeah, I literally just slam it in there. I'm not gonna overproduce.
Curtis Chavez, I like pickup demos that stick to 1 to 2 amps, pick light and hard, turn volume and tone pots up and down, and player lets notes sound clearly without tons of delay or modulation.
Yeah, so I try to I'm going to use reverb though. I'm never going to play dry because most people don't. But yeah, I won't use a bunch of modulation unless it's kind of like an after thing. Like I've done demos before where you're like, have a little segment that's just super fun and it's got all the stuff on it. You know, like everything's on it, like all your delay and your fuzz and all your everything, because it sounds fun totally in context. And then just the way I've been doing them is because of what I care about our pickups and what I want our pickups to be good at. I want them to be really reactive to the knobs, so that you don't have to use any pedals. So I don't use any pedals. So I play the Princeton. I put all the knobs on 7, except for the reverb and the tremolo. But all the knobs are on 7. So volume, bass, treble, everything's on 7. Because then that breaks the amp up, and then you can adjust the clean with the knob, and you can see all what you're asking for. Like you can just move the knobs around and do all kinds of different stuff with no pedals and just a little reverb. The reverb's usually on like 2.5 or 3. And I think that's cool.
I'm going to go back to the top because it's hard to tell what goes with what now. So just going to go.
Do it.
8:30, so we'll just start going through the questions.
Okay.
Soil sample. I don't know if he's asking because he starts it with, I may have to ask about series versus parallel, split coil inner versus outer, and hum canceling.
As long as you set it up right, you can make it still do all that. Inner versus outer, you can't really because of phasing, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much though, because it's not really that noisy.
Tim Ziegler, do the P90s come with mounting screws?
Yes. The soap bars do. Yes.
Jason Gale says, I will make a video of my Super 8s.
Excellent.
Or Super 8, maybe not plural.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a dog. I thought somebody started a chainsaw. I was like, it's pretty dark outside, isn't it? Graphite and guitars. Dylan, could you add a section to the website where customers could upload samples?
I don't know if you can do that with a review or not. I know you can do photos, but the problem is we can't upload samples because then you'd have to host it somewhere. But what you can do is you can upload it to your YouTube channel, your Instagram, and put a link in your review. You can do that.
Vinny's World. That's really intriguing. Not to get too conspiracy theory about it. Do you think some makers are repackaging the same wines with different aesthetics to market to different types of players?
Yes. Simply because Fender, so let's take Fender. Fender has a recipe of, 3,000 something. Because they want to come up with a new recipe book full of like 3,000 guitar pickup recipes. Because they want to come up with something new every time a new model comes out. But after you've done it so many times, if you were to, and I talk about this a lot, if you were to plot all the tones and all the wines, 5,500 wines, Alnico 5, this height of pickup. 5,100 wines, Alnico 5, this height of pickup. Okay, then let's do something in between. Is it going to be 5,250? Is it going to be 5,350? How much difference is it actually going to make? So how much difference is it actually going to make? Like, once you have all of those designs plotted out and you're like, I'm going to shoot for the middle from here to here, and then I'm going to put this one in the middle. And then I'm going to put this one in the middle. And then the middle just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, right? So like, yeah, I mean, I think maybe not totally packaging them exactly the same, but probably if you were to take, I don't know, I would have to sit down and look at a bunch of Fender Telecaster and Stratocaster models, especially over the years, but I bet you I could find two that sound pretty close, or more than one that sounds pretty close with another set, based on the fact that you're just kind of out of options at some point or another for something totally new, if that makes sense.
Sun bass. I mainly focus on bass, but on either bass or guitar, I like hearing clean and lightly overdriven edge of breakup sounds.
Same.
If the pickup nails those sounds, I can almost always get the distortion I want.
Yes, you're right.
Dog Dr. Tim has the Golden Arrow sold. I hope so. That thing was haunting me.
It's still haunting you. I'm telling you, it's right here. I could put it in a box tomorrow.
Matthew Altamere, from your old versus new pickup video this week, the time lapse got me thinking of much of our available hearing frequencies have changed over decades. I know I've lost a bunch of high frequencies.
Yeah, I read an article a few years ago about the fact that music in the last 20 years, the overall tone has changed because the producers have aged. And the levels of compression that are used mean that the music is louder than it used to be and more busy, but it's not. And then they just compress it further. Like, there's all kinds of, on the production side, on the back end, that affects everything. And I think it's just like I always talk about with like adjusting the action on your guitar, and feeler gauges and stuff. Like, we know, like, let's not lie about this. The average age of the guitar player is at an age where their hearing is not perfect, and their eyesight is not perfect. So meaning that any margin of error with this tone wood to that tone wood and this blah, blah, blah to whatever you insert, whatever spec you want to put in, chances are we're operating with a margin of error that doesn't really matter with most things that people really waste a lot of time on. I really believe that.
Tazzy Tim, I suppose an individual's attack and playing style will affect the performance of the pickup.
Yeah, for sure.
Play Gibson, dang, I'm late. Hi, Leslie and Dylan. Got my Dylan P90 today. I was waiting at the mailbox when the mail person pulled up. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Sunbay says, without buzzwords, the marketing departments would need to actually state facts. That would collapse the whole system.
That's funny.
Jose Daniel Zamora P. Have you considered any collabs with other content creators? Sort of like in the sense that people have a lot of more players to reference. I just found McKnight, but not the Bollinger you mentioned.
Oh, so yes, that has been on my mind to actually, but what I would have to do is I'd actually have to send them guitars, pay them for reviews, like the whole thing. So this is an interesting thing. That's where I don't become, I'm not a YouTube channel anymore. I'm obviously a business owner who designs and manufactures pickups. And so at that point, then I have to put on a different hat and be like, okay, how much will you charge to do a demo? I'm going to send this to you, blah, blah, and go through all that stuff. And we have been talking to a couple of people, but I haven't nailed any deals down yet. So I don't want to say who they are, but I have been talking to a few folks to actually to demo the Texas Toast gassers that we have still. So. Well, probably this one because Tim's going to buy the gold one. So,
Jeffrey Hall says, what about a swappable pickup guitar like a Somnium for demoing pickups?
I have one of those. It's really cool. And we're going to use it at this show. I like it a lot. I use it for designing. I should use it on the channel more. It's a really cool... But it's what happens is people will find a reason to not give it credibility because it has aluminum in it. So they will it's just the thing that happens kind of en masse that people will be like, well, that's not a real guitar. So I'm not going to give this credibility. Now, when you play it in person, it's fine. But when you're not in the room with it and you're seeing it over the internet, a lot of people that's why they're not more popular than they are, because it's a very cool and a very well-designed system. The guy that built that, I went and toured his shop, and it is an absolutely incredible piece of equipment. It's just not very marketable because they're expensive. They're like $3,500, and it's just not a real guitar to some people. It very much is, but to a lot of people, they don't give it credibility that it deserves. Would probably be my take on that. I love the thing. I think it's awesome.
Who bought one? No, that was a Relish.
Yeah. Phil's got one. I've got one. There's a couple of us, like YouTube creators that, that do this kind of stuff that have them. I want to say me and Phil are probably the main ones, though. He's got an older one than mine. Mine's newer.
Soil sample. Dylan would be a legend if he dropped a 2010s style diss track on Phil McKnight.
I wouldn't do that. I love Phil. He's awesome.
What is 2010 is very specific. What's the
I don't know.
2010s diss?
I know what he's saying, but I can't think of how that would. I don't know what that association is, if that makes sense.
Jason Gale, the thing that breaks me out is those fiber optic sensor replacing pickups in futuristic basses and guitars. It's insane.
Yeah, so
Freaks. That's why he wrote freaks. He meant to say freaks.
let me tell you, we did an interview. I wish I should contact those guys again. We did an interview with them, and it was when we were in the motorhome, and the internet was really slow, and it kept breaking up, and I couldn't use it. But those guys are smart, man. The guys that came up with that optical pickup are really smart. It's really cool.
That was a weird time to stop. So sorry.
No, that's okay.
I feel like you just
No, it's
started stopping.
started stopping.
Yes. I'm going to stop. 3J Music. Perfect. I'm the average guitar player. Bad eyes and ears.
I mean, we all kind of are. It's where the age group is.
Jason Gale, I like the way you're starting to rip some lead solo bits into your guitar demoing.
Okay.
BC Rich 581 says, I'm waiting for someone to develop a Walker mountable guitar holder for the growing market of geriatric guitarists. I'm almost not kidding.
It's called a pedal steel. You can put it on your wheelchair.
He said Walker mountable.
Or Walker mountable, yeah, sure. Pedal steel. I mean, that's what a pedal steel looks like. It friggin' looks like a Walker, and it has the little legs that fold out.
So maybe you just need to put wheels on a pedal steel.
Well, there you go. Put some casters on a pedal steel. You're golden.
I don't know what's cheaper. I feel like assistive technology is pretty expensive.
I was going to say, it depends on what the assistive technology you're buying is. If it's the thing that goes on the back of your car, a pedal steel is probably cheaper.
Wild.
And if you're a pedal steel player, you probably already have the van. You just don't have the cool thing in it. Lifty thing.
Jeffro 490 is back this week just to say you look like Joaquin Phoenix, bro.
Thank you. I'll take that.
I didn't realize how brown that was until it was against black. It was flipped over on black.
It is brown.
I mean that way.
Oh, yeah.
Benny's World said that's literally what Slash's pedal steel looks like.
A walker. Oh, because does he walk up to it? He doesn't sit at it?
Oh, Grochel says pedal steel is my dream guitar to learn.
Yeah.
Different skill.
It's a totally different thing. Speaking of John Bollinger, I've watched him play a bunch of pedal steel, and it's yeah.
Who's the guy we saw at Eddie's Attic? What was that guy's name?
Oh, Eddie's Attic. Yeah, he's the guy that's, I forget what his name is, but he wrote all those country songs, all those really big country songs.
But we were like right there, and watching him play, I was like, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like a piano player / guitar player.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's the thing I visualize it too, as a piano player / guitar player. Because he's doing so much more with all of his limbs. The pedal steel player from Def Leppard only has one arm. No, I'm just kidding.
No. What are you talking about? It's the drummer.
I know. I was quoting that song. The drummer from Def Leppard only has one arm. You never heard that?
Apparently not.
No. Who is that? Is that the same people that sing The Roof is on Fire? I think it is. The drummer from Def Leppard only has one arm. I can't remember who sings that song. Somebody will tell me. I don't know why it just made me think that it would be hard for a pedal steel player to have one arm.
Dog Dr. Tim said, I can see me at the VA now with a pedal steel walker with my positive grid strapped on.
I mean, that makes sense. Yep.
Terry Heim said, I always wanted a pedal steel guitar. Settled for a couple square neck Dobros and some lap steels.
Yeah, I don't have anything slide related at all. And I would be really interested to have, I know they're really expensive now, but I would really be interested to have the Fender lap steel that the Telecaster is based on. I would love to have one of those, or even a recreation of it. I'd love to have one of those.
Super chat from Charles Wallace. Thank you for the super chat, Charles. He said, thank you for ad free.
Thank you, Charles.
So Matt Sanders and Jason Gale have said Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah, Bloodhound Gang. That's who it is.
Jeff Rowe 490. Is my friend crazy for trying to add a pickup to his ukulele?
Nope, not at all. You know, that's probably one of the highest, most requested, wacky pickups that we don't make requests. It's not enough to make them. I'm not going to make them, but it's like, I want to put a pickup on my ukulele. What do I get? And, can you make me one? And I always tell them no, and just go to LR Bags or somebody and get one. But yeah, it's a very requested thing. I feel like are we kind of pulling out of ukulele girl zone though? Because,
COVID-y thing. No,
about 8 years ago, I want to say it was ukulele girl zone of time was pretty high. Like every girl with Birkenstocks and or furry boots, like the whole Han Solo uniform, they all had ukuleles at Starbucks. Pumpkin spice lattes and ukuleles.
Are you done?
I'm done. Yeah.
Tazzy Tim, going to put the covers on a 335. I will build. Which pickups for coil splitting would you recommend?
Oh, center punches. And if you're going to put them on pickups, just tell me and I'll build it all together. It'll be fine. Yeah, center punches for sure. They're made to coil split with no volume drop, so that'll work. Perfect.
Phil Grochel says Freeman Arthur has a couple of growler pedal steel guitars, affordable at around $3,000.
Yeah, they're expensive, man. Yeah, I don't know what a Showbud costs now, but those darn things are... Whew.
11 more minutes, all caught up. So
Okay.
If I missed anything, you should resend it.
I'll tell you.
Something playing?
No, somebody's loudly driving by. And the dog just farted.
Oh, that's definitely not what I heard.
Oh, okay. He's running in his sleep and farting. See that?
Mm-hmm.
We tried something different this week with the dogs. We let them both knock out like in eyesight of each other, and so they are much calmer. We're not separating. I thought separating them was helping, but it seems to work just fine doing this.
As long as it's not playtime.
Yeah, once it gets to playtime, you can't stop them. Then it's zoomies full on. They want to do zoomies outside, then they want to do zoomies inside. So one of the things I'm working on is I'm getting ready for this guitar show. So I'm trying to bring, we're probably going to bring like 10 center punches, 20 P90s, 10 sets of tele pickups, 6 or 7 sets of Strat pickups. I'm going to go ahead and order a bunch of hats. We're going to buy a bunch of hats and sell hats.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all of the guys at this show I did in California, they freaking sold tons of merch.
Well, you bought tons of merch.
I did buy tons of merch. Yeah, I probably spent $200 on merch. And that's what made me think of it. I'm like, geez, they're getting $30 a piece for these hats. I mean, that's what I get for them on the website too. So I'm like, yeah, I might as well do this too. So I filled up a cart too. I'll probably bring like 20
I was going
hats
to
or
say, you
something.
can take, are you going to take you're driving, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take the van and yeah. So I'm going to do, I'm sharing a booth with Runway. So Runway Audio. So I don't want to do like I don't want to say I don't want to upscale him, but I also know that it's not one of those sort of shows where having a huge looking booth with all the stuff is necessary. So I'm just going to get the thing that looks like goes like that and puts it, so I'm not going to do like a full on 10-foot backdrop. And what we're going to do for demo stuff is I think I'm going to bring my Tonex. I'm going to set up 3 profiles on my Tonex and 3 profiles on my Kemper. And I'm going to have headphones. And we're going to have the Somnium. We're going to have like 8 guitars. I kind of went through my list of the guitars that I'm going to bring that will give a good cross section of all the guitar, of all the pickups that I have. And then we're going to bring the Somnium to fill in the blanks. And then you'll be able to, I'm not going to let people screw around with my Kemper and my Tonex, but I'm going to basically kind of like what you guys were talking about. Like, here's clean, here's some higher gain, and here's some edge of breakup. Like, not in that order, but where you can just kind of play with it and maybe have a Fender style stuff on one of them and a Marshall style stuff on the other. And just that way people can kind of just get an idea with headphones. So I'm just going to buy a couple pairs of decently cheap headphones that can be thrown away afterwards.
All right. 7 things came in. 7 minutes left.
Let's do it. Lightning round.
Bill Grogel said Showbud is around $10,000.
That's what I thought.
Charles Wallace says Center Punch is amazing. Very great coil split.
Mm-hmm.
Butch Landry. I don't play, but like to build guitars. What are the expectations when buying a guitar online without ever playing it first? Are guitars that consistent as to not be an issue?
Most of the time, yes. As long as you're not buying super cheap stuff or super wacky stuff.
Jose Daniel Zamora P. Get a set of P90s to Chris Buck to demo for his Revstar. That would be worth his weight in gold in sales, I tell ya.
Yeah, people say that. The problem is that Yamaha probably won't like it. He's got a Yamaha deal. They want him to play a Yamaha like it's a Yamaha.
Mm-hmm. 3J Music. Dylan, could you talk about the differences between gold foil pickups and regular pickups?
Yeah, gold foils have a very flat single coil. It's like real flat, like flatter than a P90. And they have a real funky magnet too. It's like rubber, like a refrigerator magnet almost. And they're super low resistance, very small. Yeah. The best one that I've found aftermarket is Tim McNally. He makes an awesome one. They're expensive, but they're really good.
Hogman Hawk says my favorite single coil is my Center Punch 8. LOL.
When you split it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Jason Gale, I love hats, but they got to be quality with the right brim, flat and wide, not ball cap style. I'd buy those.
We have some. If you want a flat brim cap, tell me. So I have a bunch of them. This is not one of them. This is somebody else's. Shoot me a message. I've got some stuff in stock. I'll show you what I've got. Because I like flat too. A lot of people don't, but I do. So.
David Solgott, Esquire build with Eldred mod and your P90. How do you think it would sound?
That'd be awesome. That'd be super cool. I've done that before. I think it's a great idea.
Chicken Waller Farm. Can you update us latecomers on this upcoming show?
Yeah, it's the Amigo Guitar Show. It's mostly like vintage stuff, but there will be some new vendors there too. It is in Nashville. It is on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, I believe, of March. But just Google Amigo Guitar Show Nashville, and that'll give you the dates. We're getting 30 feet, me and Austin from Runway Audio. He's got 2 businesses, so he's going to have 20 feet, and I'm going to have 10 feet. It's going to be great.
Super chat from Tazzy Tim. Thank you for the super chat, Tim. He said, thanks again, guys. Gotta go and pretend to do work.
Yeah, because it's tomorrow there. Hopefully your Friday is going good.
Yeah, how is Friday?
Yeah, it's probably Friday for Vinny too, over there in Hong Kong. Because I think he was here with us earlier.
Yep. Good job. It's okay. It's okay.
One time I dropped a knife, and that's what that little slice in the cowhide is from. Go back to sleep.
Jason Gale. Also, when I order a pair of nickel-plated humbuckers, I'll have you engrave Gale Ales logo on it.
Cool. Yeah, do that. Yeah, so the way you do that is you go to, because it costs more, so you go to, there's a build your own humbucker in the humbucker section. There's a build your own humbucker, and you pick what model you want. So if you want center punches, you just click center punch. And then what you'll do is there's a drop down, and it shows, do you want the Paisley one? Do you want the, all the designs we have? And at the very bottom of that drop down, it says submit your own design. Just click that, and that'll put the appropriate price on it. But what I would say is, if you're going to do something custom, send me a message on the chat on the website and make sure that it's something that we can do that's awesome for you before you buy it. Because I don't want to charge you for it and then not be able to do it and have to go through a refund and all that. So, for example, this thing I'm doing for Tim, the dog thing, I have not charged him yet for that because I'm still trying to make sure that it's going to be a good result for him. So, the one we did last week, with the star on it and whatever that was in the video, that gentleman just emailed me that logo and said, is this something you can do? Yes. Okay. And then he put the order in with that submit your own thing. And then it charged the right amount. I don't remember how much it costs. It's a few bucks, but it's not a lot. It just pays me for the time to put the design in the computer and goof around with it and make it happen.
Vinny's World said, yep, pretending to work here too.
Yeah.
Doc Sildson wants to know, what guitars are you taking?
I'm taking my Gold Strat, my let's see. I'm taking 4 Texas Toast guitars if I still have them. I'm going to take the gassers, the 2 gassers that I have, if I still have them. Hopefully Tim will buy the gold one tomorrow, and then I won't have to take that one. I will take the pink Challenger. I will take the SG Junior. I will take this Strat. I can't remember. My Telly. I might take another Strat too. It just kind of depends. I got to look at what we're definitely all my Texas Toast guitars. So my black one too with the Enduro in it. It's going to depend on what pickups I have ready when we go, but it's looking pretty good in there though. I'm working on it. It's a lot of work to keep everybody happy customer wise this week and make 10 of everything on top of that. So I've been hustling.
Cool. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. That means it's off topic hour. So here's how this works. For those of you that are new, we will answer any question you have after 9 o'clock, as long as it's not a guitar question. If it's a guitar question after 9 o'clock, it has to be in a super chat. Otherwise, come back next week. We do this so we can hang out, get to know you, just be friends, get to know each other outside of guitar stuff, because I think it's important for the community to do that. So we've got a couple that came in. If you're a Patreon member or a YouTube member, you can ask off-topic questions ahead of time, and we'll feature those first as well.
Super chat from Jason Gale. Thank you for the super chat, Jason. He says, what format is best? PSD?
I like PDFs or SVGs.
Oh, we're talking about image format.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he talking? What is PSD?
PNG, it's Photoshop.
Oh.
I'll take a PSD because I can convert it to whatever I want. But SVG, PDF, PNG are my favorite. I could take an EPS. I'll take a SVG or whatever. It doesn't matter really.
All right. What came in early?
Just 2, I think.
Charles, good evening. Leslie and Dylan, thanks for sharing your evening with us.
Thank you, Charles.
It's awesome.
Yeah. He is always here.
Doc, happy International Polar Bear Day, Leslie and Dylan. Just wanted to say thanks for spending the evening chatting with all of us. Only question is off topic for Dylan, Liam or Max.
Oh, Max. Liam's going to be okay, but it's going to take him a while. Nobody's fast the first year. And I know he's been racing, but he hadn't been fast. So, yeah, Max. That second seat at Red Bull is going to be a tough one.
International Polar Bear Day.
Mm-hmm.
Where do polar bears live? Are they international natively?
Probably, because they're probably in more than one country above the Arctic Circle. Or at the Arctic Circle.
It's like above?
Yeah. Like North Pole versus, I don't know. I don't know.
How many countries are in the Arctic Circle?
Well, you got to figure the northern side of Russia is. All that Scandinavian stuff is probably Greenland, northern Canada.
And you think they have polar bears in all of these countries?
I would think so. I don't know for sure, but
I don't know.
I'm not a polar bear expert. I know you're not supposed to mess with them because they'll eat you, but that's all I know.
I would definitely not want to run into a polar bear in the wild.
No, not at all. But yeah, I don't know anything about them.
We used to have one at our zoo. It was one of my favorite exhibits, and they got rid of it.
Probably ran out of Coke.
Probably. Let's see. Hawkman Hawks. Been watching some of y'all's older videos. Never thought of making my own salsa. You should.
You should.
And do you still have the inflatable kayak?
Yes.
I thought we did. Yeah.
Yep.
We haven't taken it out, but we.
No, it's good. Works good.
Charles Wallace, still the best day trip I've taken in over 20 years. Still a highlight.
Thanks, man.
I love that, but it also makes me think I wish we would have went somewhere nicer. If
I know.
It meant that much.
We just went to Buffalo Wild Wings or something, didn't we? Yeah. Well, that was a little town. There wasn't a whole lot there anyway, but
yeah. I would go to that area again.
I would too. I like that area of Ohio and whatever.
Chicken Waller Farm said you're showing your age, bro, with that Coke comment. I don't know what age that is. We mean Coca-Cola, like the Coca-Cola polar bear.
Yeah, I want to say that's probably...
It's still happening.
Yeah, but it started probably, in the mid-2000s or something?
I have no idea.
I don't know. The Super Bowl commercial thing when it first started.
No idea. Brianna and I've been playing that game. I cannot. I just bust out laughing every time I hear Seal now.
Oh my God. That was the best Super Bowl commercial for this year for sure. It was so creepy, but it was awesome. Loved it.
Okay. Phil Grochel, I am considering a Mont Blanc fountain pen as an affordable pen for my first. I am left-handed, so fast-drying ink is important. What recommendations do you have? Thanks.
Well, I mean, I have no judgment about somebody else's budget. That's not where I would go for an affordable fountain pen. But my Mont Blancs all write really wet.
Yeah, it's not just about the ink.
Yeah. So honestly, you're left-handed. I understand that. We have a video about this. I made a video about writing left-handed. What it really has to do with is paper position. And you'll find that you will adapt to it if you take the time. You will adapt to writing with a fountain pen because the angle of everything has to be different. So when you write with a fountain pen, you have to like mind the angle of the nib to the paper. And so the fact that you have to correct that for the pen to work correctly, and then you just tilt your paper, the problem sort of fixes itself. So I wouldn't worry so much about the wetness of the ink. If you buy a new Mont Blanc, just get some Mont Blanc ink with it. Mont Blanc ink is really good.
Doc Silton said there are some towns in the James Bay region of Ontario where you must be armed to go outside at certain times due to an abundance of polar bears.
I believe that. And not with a 22 either. Probably 44
did we not
or
watch
something.
that together? I watched something about that.
Did you?
Maybe it was in a show I watched. I don't know.
Yeah.
They had to, like, they would get stopped, and if they didn't have a gun on them, I don't know what I watched. That was a long time ago.
There's places in Montana like that. When we lived in Arizona, we had to always have something with us because, at least in the truck or something, because there was always mountain lions, and javelina were the big one. Javelina are, for those of you that don't know what that is, everybody thinks they're pigs, but they're not. They're actually rodents of unusual size, like from The Princess Bride. That's like, they're real. That's what they are. And they're super, super mean, especially if they have babies. And so we always used to run into those, and they're fast and they're gnarly. And mountain lions.
And now we have conversation about, is that Bandit?
That's me.
Where is Bandit?
Sleeping in the living room.
About polar bears. Graphite and Guitar says the Coke polar bear was early 90s.
Yep. Okay.
Chicken Waller Farm says polar bears first appeared in Coke advertising in 1922, became a modern staple in 1993. I graduated in 93. LOL. Guess he would remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like in his senior yearbook or something, like
Yeah.
those common things that you're supposed to remember. Well, it's a little slow. Jose Daniels Morapee said, sorry if not off topic, but Sony MDV Studio headphones are cheap and sound good if you haven't figured out what to bring.
That's what I was kind of thinking, something like that. Yep. No, I think it'll be fun. I'm going to make contact with all my friends in Nashville that live there and tell them that I'm coming and that I'll be around for a couple of days and try to meet up with some people, have some fun. You know, because I will be there for a couple days. So, which I don't. Lately, when I've gone to Nashville, it's been super quick. We've been in and out of there and not had any time to do anything. So,
Yep. And I don't know if I'm going.
right.
We're planning like I'm not.
Yes. Yeah, I actually forgot that you would have even had a maybe. But we're right in there because of the baby situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not us. We're not having a baby.
Charles Wallace said knife of the night.
Knife of the night is this is new. Actually, I just got this yesterday or day before yesterday. The zero tolerance. These are stupid because they're numbers. This is a new one that just came out. The zero tolerance 0512. It is an automatic. And it is burlap micarta on the front side scale with a steel liner and then a titanium back scale, but it's all Cerakoted brown. And it's so cool. And it's crew wear steel. Crew wear steel is really neat because it's not a stainless steel. So that's why they would Cerakote it. So it doesn't rust. But the edge retention is really, really good. And it's really sharp. Like the factory edge is really sharp. And I really like this knife. When I saw it, I was like, you know what? It's going to look awesome. Cerakote on a knife blade looks kind of neat once it gets beat up. And then this is going to take on oils and stuff from your hands. This knife is going to look super cool once it gets more used. So I'm kind of excited that I have it.
Chicken Waller Farm said javelina tastes nasty.
I've never tried to eat it. I've heard people have ate it, but I've never.
Phil Grochel says, hopefully you have a chance to visit Groon Guitars while in Nashville.
Yeah, I go there when I get a chance. I'm not a big fan. I would rather go to Carter's because I know those guys, and then there's another place called Blues Vintage, which I know the owner of that place too. Groon's is cool, but it's a little too sterile for me. It's like it's too it's like the Apple Store of vintage guitar stores.
I feel like the last time we went was really good though. Like
it was, that's true.
I don't know who that humongous guy was. Did he work there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will say that I probably won't need to go to Groon's because I'm going to be at this guitar show. All those people are probably going to be there.
Probably true. Dog Dr. Tim, in all your travels, have you guys ever gone to Biltmore Estate? I would love to take you there as our guest. If not, we own the place.
Ha! We've gone there many times.
Yep.
We like that place.
Times.
Mm-hmm. There's one of our profile pictures for a long time was us in front of that place.
I think it's on our website still.
Is it?
Yeah. Like our about page, maybe.
Mm. Yeah, me and you standing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At Biltmore.
Graphite and Guitar says Carter's was sold, was it not?
I don't know the answer to that. I had not heard that. Let's look. That's a good question. That would be weird.
If it wasn't Carter's anymore.
Yeah. I mean, because it's those guys, you walk in there and it's them. Christy and,
I mean, they're not going to live forever.
Well, it's true. I don't see anything about that. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't see anything about that. But that doesn't mean anything. It is the internet after all.
Graphite and Guitar said, I read the kids work there, but no longer own it.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess honestly I don't know. I don't keep up with, it sounds bad to say, but I don't keep up with a lot of that stuff. Mostly because it doesn't concern what I'm doing I'm trying to really focus on building what we're doing here. So I sometimes I don't pay attention to that stuff well enough, I guess. Maybe I should.
But then we have everybody to tell us. We have like our own Wikipedia in the comments.
No, exactly. And I think I love that.
All right. It's 9:16. Nothing's coming in.
Nothing's coming in. A little slow tonight. A little slower tonight.
I feel a little slow tonight too.
That's no problem.
I had 3 days of all day conference on Zoom.
Let's just go watch another episode of How I Escaped My Cult.
I feel like you just brought a topic up. All right. Next week. Butch Landry said, does your workday ever end? No.
No, tonight it's ending for me. I'm not working tonight. I'm not doing anything.
Cool.
After these, I don't.
You can't.
No, brain's too tired. Thanks, you guys. This has been fun. You'll probably see a video tomorrow, or maybe not. I haven't actually thought about it. We'll see you later.